Mine too. All right, welcome back. I don't know what to call this group anymore. Reading group sounds too boring. So whatever we are, it's Wednesday, November 19th, 2025, my niece's birthday. Let's gather our minds here as we usually do. Let's bring our attention to our breath until you hear from me again. Now bring to mind that being who for you is a manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom. And see them there with you. They are gazing at you with their unconditional love for you, smiling at you with their holy great compassion. Their wisdom radiating from them, that beautiful golden glow encompassing you in its light. And then we hear them say, bring to mind someone you know who's hurting in some way. Feel how much you would like to be able to help them. Recognize how the worldly ways we try fall short. How wonderful it will be when we can also help in some deep and ultimate way, a way through which they will go on to stop the distress forever. Deep down, we know this is possible. Learning about karma and emptiness, we glimpse how it's possible. And so I invite you to grow that wish into a longing. And that longing into an intention. And with that intention, turn your mind back to that precious holy being. We know that they know what we need to know, what we need to learn yet, what we need to do yet to become one who can help this other in this deep and ultimate way. And so we ask them, please, please teach us that. Show me that. And they are so happy that we've asked. Of course, they agree. Our gratitude arises. We want to offer them something exquisite. And so we think of the perfect world they are teaching us how to create. We imagine we can hold it in our hands and we offer it to them, following it with our promise to practice what they teach us, using our refuge prayer to make our promise. Here is the great earth, filled with fragrant incense and covered with the blanket of flowers. The great mountain, 4 lands, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community, to the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest. No, and in participating in this reading group, may we become Buddha for the sake of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community, to the merit that I do in participating in this group and the rest. May we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community, through the merit that I do in sharing in this group and the rest. May all beings totally awaken for the benefit of every single other. How about this group being Nagarjuna's friends? All right, that feels fun. Maybe he just laughed. Whee! All right, can you see the whole screen share? Can you see the whole text? Okay, I have my picture covering a little bit of it so I can see you. And I want to I can't see my page number. Let's move this out of the way. Where is that? All right, we'll just do it this way. 32, 33, 34, 35. No, it's not us. So we bow down to the Buddha who's made of trillions of good deeds and has satisfied the needs, all the needs themselves and others. That's what the discussion is about. 36, 37. Oh, there it is. That's our mark, right? The and. All right. So here's the third Nagarjuna, beginning by bowing down. So again, this text is Kedrab J commentary. Am I right? On Nagarjuna's
I think it's
land?
Gelsub J because
Okay,
Venerable Utpala's is K-drop J.
thank you. Thank
I
you.
think.
Galsub J commentary on String of Precious Jewels, which is one of Arya Nagarjuna's advices to a king, right? So keep in mind he's talking to the most powerful person in in the world being limited to their place at that time. And okay. Yeah. So, Janet, you are at the top of my screen. Would you like to start us off here?
Uh, who? With who?
Yes, with who?
Who is he bowing down to? The all-knowing one, who holds in his holy mind each and everything there is, however many there may be, exactly as they are.
Okay. That was so short. How about doing this paragraph as well, please?
And this being is distinguished by having rid themselves of all those obstacles which are negative emotions that hold to the person or parts of a person as existing through some nature of their own. They are totally free in this sense that all of the problems which are obstacles to omniscience, the illusion, and along with the seeds to be mistaken, will never come back. And because they are ornamented with the incredible beauty of all good qualities, like power and the extraordinary realizations which are shared with the listeners, and so forth, as well as those which are not shared, they are adorned, they are the adorned one.
So the words in italics are the words of the root text, right? And the rest are the commentary, just to be clear why they're doing that. So he's describing the qualities of enlightened being, eh? And why did that go backwards? Who's there? Elsie's next.
Particularly. As for perfectly fulfilling the needs of others, out of motivation of compassion, he protects all living beings from every type of problem and shares with them every kind of goodness. And so it is to these one who has no equal, the sole remedy of all living kind, that he bows down.
If anywhere along the way anyone has a comment or an insight or wants to share, please just pipe up. Joanna, please.
And he is distinguished from other teachers who have harmed living beings, like Bhavya Krishna Rudreshwara, burned the city of stacked rope, or Vishnu, who destroyed 18 battalions.
Shall we go looking for footnote 14,
Footnote.
see if we get any information on this? I'm not sure where to, oh, there it is. So Joanna, will you read us this too?
Yeah, burned the city. Why we could not verify the full name of this being there are numerous references to a being whose name appears to be Bhavya Krishna, who is known for destroying a city or the free cities found in our databases. The Mahavyupati mentions a destroyer of the free cities in a list of worldly deities.
All right. So again, he's talking to a king who might be inclined to destroy a city. I hope it wouldn't be one of his own, but pointing out you would not want to follow a teacher who teaches you how to destroy a city when you need to. Because there would be never a case when you would need to, I would guess. Where are we? Roxana, please.
Yes, thank you. The Jains clothe themselves in only sky, for they profess that the slightest contact with even the subtlest of living things kills them.
No.
And then there are schools who require that when the student leave, they must give back their vows. There was even one great adept who incinerated a king along with his 4 armies.
Yikers.
I know. Shall I go on or should I stop?
No, wait, stop there, please. Because all of this is notes. These are Nick Glashaw's, right? The file that they're working on currently, right? So these are all their no notes. But we've made it to chapter 2. Woohoo. Oh, maybe not. Maybe they're just talking about it. And never mind. I'll do the short ones. How's that? So the second has 2 parts. The actual pledge and what makes someone a worthy vessel for teachings. The actual pledge. The first of these consists of a presentation of the sections of the book and how we should understand the 2 meanings of those words. I guess the pledge. There we go. Okay. Pauline, please.
Sure, teacher. Here is the first, the causes along with the results of both higher rebirths and liberation are the subject matter. Realizing these goals through relying on this classical commentary is the intermediate or immediate purpose. And then achieving definite goodness by virtue of meditating upon the understanding that we have gained is the ultimate purpose. The connection between them is that whether or not the later parts occur depend on whether or not the earliest parts have been put in place.
Okay. 2 meaning of the words. Janet.
Your Majesty, in order that you achieve your goals, I will explain this particularly virtuous teaching.
Go ahead with this one too, Janet, please.
What, you may wonder, comes after the prostration? Well, he addresses the one who is a supreme ornament in that they outshine all of those around them, the one called King. He tells them that in order to help him to achieve his goal, to purify himself completely, achieve everlasting virtue, and hold himself back from ever falling into lower realms or the cycle of pain, he must explain this particularly virtuous teaching.
I didn't get all that, but great. Thank you for the commentary.
It's because I read ahead, it's because some of this stuff doesn't apply to us as women. It's specifically for a king.
Okay. A man king. Okay. I'm just looking at the footnote since it popped up. It is interesting. Gyaltsab Je uses the Tibetan word zin here to express the idea of holding oneself back. We usually think of zin as how we're holding something, not literally holding, but like how we're believing it to be. And here he's using it in terms of a kind of discipline. It appears that he phrases it this way to emphasize the idea that holding oneself back, which in Sanskrit is dara, is the intent of the teaching. The teaching being dharma. For in Sanskrit, the Tibetan word zin, the root is dara. Sorry, the word zin in Sanskrit is dara, which shares the root dur with the Sanskrit word dharma, which occurs in the verse from the root text being commented upon. All right. Oh.
It's kind of interesting because there are Tibetan vendors here in Madison, and one of their root companies is called Zin. And he said, well, it's a bead. It's actually, I looked at the picture, it's a black and white bead. So it's a
Oh,
black and white seed.
that's cool. Interesting, interesting. All right. I'm sorry, I lost track. Who's up?
Elsie.
Elsie.
Okay. This teaching is referring to ideas like the 10 virtues, wisdom, that realizes that things are free of elaboration, and the levels of gods and men which result from those two, as well as the three kinds of enlightenment. When we say teachings here, we are referring to these two courses because what we are trying to achieve are these two along with their results.
So footnote 16. Would you read that to us too, please?
Three kinds of enlightenment, referring to enlightenment of the listeners, self-made Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas. Practitioners of the listener and self-made Buddha tracks reach nirvana for themselves alone, while practitioners of the Bodhisattva track reach total Buddhahood or a state of enlightenment that includes omniscience. A presentation
cool.
of
Sorry.
a presentation of the three is found in Volume 1 of J. Tsongkhapa's String of Golden Beads.
Cool. We knew that, didn't we? Why, when I push my down arrow, does it jump back to where we started? Sorry. What makes someone a worthy vessel? The one who accomplishes the teachings is a worthy vessel for the holy teachings. The one who accomplishes the teachings is a worthy vessel for the holy teachings. Okay, Joanna, please.
You may be wondering why a king is getting this teaching. If people who are worthy vessels bring themselves to wholly realized beings and receive teachings from them, they will accomplish their goals. He is a worthy vessel and is thus receiving this explanation.
Hmm. And Roxana.
Thank you. The second, setting forth the explanation, has 4 parts. A general presentation of the causes for and results of the higher realms and definite goodness. Advises and amassing the 2 collections which are the causes for unsurpassed enlightenment. Advises to not carry out the activities of a king incorrectly. And advises that those seeking to achieve enlightenment quickly, even bodhisattvas, should live the home life.
But the king can't leave his home life, can he?
Yeah, not literally. But somewhere along the line, we were talking about what it is to leave the home life and still stay in it, right? It's the attitude. I think it was in Master Shantideva's studies that sense of being in isolation is the term they use. I think it's his meditation chapter, actually. Take yourself out and live in the rocks and in the right in the forest, and how wonderful it is. And then by the time we finish the end of that section, it's like the mental attitude of isolating ourselves from our old worldview and living according to that. It is like you're isolated because nobody around you lives the same way, believes the same way, thinks the same way necessarily. So I think it's going to end up being something like that. Although, was it Udiana? I can't remember exactly which one, but when there were those, I don't, there was some king who did give up his kingship, gave it to his son so that he could give up the home life. And then his son, wrecks it. And then he goes back to take it back because the son has hurt his people so badly. And the son kills him, and it's just this awful story. I don't know the end of it. Sorry, I distracted myself. So they just gave us the list of what he's going to be telling the king. Okay. The first of these 2 parts, explanation for the causes for and results of the higher realms and definite goodness individually, and interwoven explanations of these 2. The first of these has 2, setting forth the context of the explanation and the actual explanation. I forget where we are. This is a short one. We'll go a couple of times. Pauline, is it you?
I think so. The first of this has 4 parts. The 2 teachings in order, recognizing cause and effect, distinguishing the principle from the secondary of the 2 causes, and the signs of a disciple who is a worthy vessel.
Do this too, since that was a short one, please.
Okay. Begin with the teachings for higher rebirth, then bring about definite good. For after achieving higher rebirths, step by step, they reach definite good.
Do we know what he means by definite good? Is that the first bodhisattva level? We'll see. Hopefully they'll tell us. Janet, please.
Here is the first. When we begin with an explanation of the 16 teachings, which are the cause of higher rebirths, then someone practices them properly. You must then teach them emptiness, the main focus of the path that brings about definite good. For after the stream of their mind it achieves the state of higher rebirths, step by step, they must reach definite good.
Elsie, please.
There is no way to achieve this without having a string of higher rebirths occurring one after another, because without that, a person would not be able to liberate themselves from the body and mind that binds them to the lower realms. So start with simple advices, and then, when their minds are right from having practiced the teachings, explain the meaning of the profound emptiness. There is no other way.
And Joanna, please.
Having an incorrect understanding of the meaning of emptiness would lead them to underestimate cause and effect. And the text says that if they were to give up on emptiness, they would have the very serious problem of going to the lower realms. Specifically, the book says, it is wrong to give up the premise, upside down they go, to the hell with no respite.
Let's check out footnote 17. I can't find it. Let's not go so far. I get lost. I already did. Okay, Roxana, down here, please.
It says that we should offer an explanation to help them generate an understanding that even if they have some reason to empty themselves of emptiness, they cannot diminish their understanding, even in the slightest of the certainty of cause and effect. So he's emphasizing cause and effect constantly.
Yeah.
So I imagine that he's linking it to the 10 virtues, right? That he said that he would be explaining at the beginning.
Yeah, I suspect too.
What does respite mean? The hell with no respite, I mean, with no ending?
Oh, that's that lowest hell. The Avicii hell, the hell where the suffering is so worse and constant. It's the name of that 8th level hell.
Okay.
Hell of no respite. Okay.
Oh, there it is, recognizing cause and effect.
So here's the second, meaning the second part. There's 17. Pauline, please.
Okay, teacher. They aspire to the happiness of higher births and definite good liberation. To accomplish those swiftly, be swift to get faith and wisdom.
Okay.
Do I continue,
There.
teacher?
Yeah, just a
Okay.
minute though. So
Oh,
here, definite good, he's equating to liberation. And liberation, we usually think of as seeing emptiness directly for the first time. That puts you on the path to nirvana, which, the debate would be, are you liberated when you're Arya, or are you not liberated until you're nirvana? Or are you liberated when you're on the path to liberation? So it's still not quite clear if they're talking about definite good being nirvana or being direct perception. But it's not implying a bodhisattva track, so it would not be bodhisattva bhumi. Okay, now Pauline, please go on.
okay. There is happiness to be found within higher births. The mental continuum of pleasure beings and humans include feelings of happiness, and it is correct to say that neutral feelings are included too. But the only way to get to definite good is to aspire to liberation, the freedom which comes from eliminating suffering and its source by virtue of the wisdom that realizes the absence of self nature. I think teacher here is DPE.
I just interpret it the other way, aspiring to liberation, the freedom from
Oh,
all suffering, that would be nirvana.
Nirvana.
Yeah. Which, of course, we have to have the direct perception to get there, which
Mm,
my guess is that's the case he's building.
okay.
Yeah. We call it definite good because it is a freedom from which there is no turning back.
Which ones would be neutral feelings?
You tell me.
Hmm. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, because when we're talking about feelings, even emotions trigger.
Yeah.
So something neutral that I don't know. I don't go by my life, or I think I go by, I don't think I go neutral. It's like
Yeah. I
it's
agree. It seems like I don't know. They talk about neutral karma,
yeah, but
which would result in a neutral experience.
right,
But I wouldn't, that doesn't feel like you could call feelings neutral.
right.
I mean, when we call just feeling, right? Feeling, thumbs up, thumbs down,
But anyway, it's
neutral. But there's always some kind of reaction to it.
right.
So I don't know.
So I don't know. To when I'm asleep, I could be neutral, like not reacting.
Could be.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean,
neutral would be you just don't care either way. Well,
right,
maybe. Okay, so I've heard Geshe-la describe it as, when we have a perception of the pen, included in that perception, you could say, is the time of day it's happening, the season it's happening, what's going on in the background. And what we're interacting with is the pen. We're not interacting with all that other stuff that's included in the experience of the pen. And maybe all that other stuff, because it's background and uninvolved, that they would call that the neutral. What's the neutral that's going on?
Yeah, but here they're talking about feelings, so
But
neutral
they're talking about
feelings.
feelings, yeah.
Right.
So
So,
we don't know though if they're using the term feelings as emotions, the heap of all the other factors, or they're talking about feeling in the heap number two. It's a language error, isn't it?
yes, but it caught my attention.
Yeah, it's good.
Or
Thank
could
you.
it be, that it's achieving direct perception of emptiness? Then we know where everything is coming from. Hence, we do not react to whatever that's happening. So we are neutral because there's no reaction from our side to what's happening that we are experiencing.
Yeah, and so that would mean the seeds that we're planting once we're Arya are neutral seeds, which means when you become Nirvana or Buddha, you are just neutral. Your world is neutral.
Hmm.
I don't think so.
Teacher, I heard before something like maybe when we see a certain design on the wall, we don't feel anything. It's like we don't dislike it. We don't have a feeling like we like it, so it's like neutral.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think Roxana's point was if you
Mm,
really dig in, we're
uh-huh.
never really neutral. It's like, yeah, we're not paying any attention, but
Mm.
that,
Meaning to say, we actually do, when we do focus, we actually have a certain uh thought whether we like a certain thing or not, like
yeah,
towards the design, but we didn't really pay attention.
right,
Ah,
right.
okay. I see. Maybe
Yeah,
possible.
yeah,
Maybe something that we view as insignificant to us, so we don't
right,
place any emphasis.
right,
Mm, possible.
right.
I mean, this is what I struggle with Learning Lab, and I try to avoid people, which is at the recommendation of my Ne Lama, but you cannot always avoid people. And the challenging situations, I mean, if you don't prepare for them to come up, how will you know how to deal with it? So, the classic statement from my father is, we have $7 million and you're if you're not nice to us, you won't inherit this. So he's saying something positive, but there's something negative in it too. It's a
Right,
mixed
right.
seed. And
Yeah,
and he's not being really accurate in his statement. I have a brother. It's not like and I have nieces and nephews and there's a Chinese church he supports. So when you kind of look at these statements that people, and it's coming from me, right? Roxana, I gossip. So
mhm.
people are giving me wrong information because for eons I have given other people wrong information, and therefore it's going to keep coming back to me. So if I, in my case, if I look at the positive and negative, I can get to neutral. But that is really not the tendency of my entire life.
Right. It's not any of our tendencies to sort something out and come to neutral about it because we want to be happy, right? Happy is not neutral, right?
Um, I mean, Pramana says, don't you want to be truthful, right? I mean, you can be happy, but
Accurate.
it's a false, yeah, accurate. If you're falsely happy, are you really happy?
Good point.
But I don't know because if we really live and mix black and white seeds,
Yeah.
how do we how do we navigate that? That means everything you teach us has a negative aspect to it.
Mhm.
So how do we navigate all that?
Right. Right. And we understand that as we navigate it, the things that inspire us to want to be more kind, more helpful are the nuggets to carry with us, right? The nuggets to use. because understanding cause and effect and the no self nature at whatever level we understand that in, to understand that usefully necessarily would then lead us to, oh, my behavior matters. And it took, it isn't obvious. Right? So with all that you have become aware of your situation, it can be frustrating, and it's like I'll never get over this because I've been doing it for so long. But the flip side of that is, as I work with my understanding, I'll see that no, this is changeable. My little bits of behavior moment by moment is how it gets changed. So yeah, right, the teachings can sound like they're too much and too hard and I can't do it. And they can at the same time give little glimpses of, oh, there's a nugget that I can use to inspire myself to when I'm getting upset with the way my dad communicates, thinking he's saying something positive, but the implication is critical. Right? I can recognize, I can try and let it be water off my duck's back in order to respond with some level of kindness. And maybe the level of kindness is stay silent. Can I get you a cup of tea, Dad? Right? And not even answer the question or not take up the conversation if that's what we need to do.
Oh,
But
because
I
like
agree.
gossip, I'm getting all this wrong information. So in
Yeah,
order to go against the wrong worldviews, I have to not get upset. If someone's saying I always thought language was for communication.
it's a weapon for a lot of folks.
But but if it just reveals our mental afflictions, then you're not really communicating information. You're communicating what your mental affliction is,
Right,
which I guess is information, but then it's not information like useful information. It's information on what you need to work on in order
right,
to to like purify so that when you don't have that anymore, you'll see the world in a different way. And I
right.
guess I have experienced that. I I I've had Tai Chi sisters that were interested in Tibetan Buddhism, and I've lived in Madison's since 2002, and I've never gone to the temple. And I would read, and my Lay Lama would give me little quizzes, and I wouldn't know the answers. But now, I have a very rudimentary understanding of the Tibetan letters, and I can use a dictionary. So this is not in any way um, advanced or um, unusual, right? But it's relative to where I came from. It's better
Yeah,
than where I came from,
it's
where
extraordinary.
I couldn't answer questions about the three principal paths because I just couldn't remember the answers, even though I looked at the answer key. So at any rate, yeah, our mental afflictions are coloring stuff, and then the way I interact with my dad will indicate what those mental afflictions are. And if they're purified enough, I probably will see things differently. And I'm okay with the way things are, I guess. Um, I really hope they change. That's another statement that things are constantly changing, but I think they'll stay the same.
Yes.
Where's that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
things will change, but I mean, do I want them to stay the same with my dad? Because that's a really stupid way to look at it. I'm not happy with it, but I want to keep it the same. I don't
It
know.
is weird. Like it's like that, those are our mental afflictions deep down inside. Recognize too that the what you're hearing of your dad's communication are clues into his mental afflictions as well, right? And it's clues into how can I cut him some slack? Can I recognize that he's actually feeling really insecure? Or can I recognize the fact that he's feeling powerless over me and he wants to have power because he wants to protect me and he's misguided? Like, is there some way you can recognize that his way of communicating that triggers you is a
I've
clue?
I've been to, well, I haven't been to. I've been to one court hearing and then another friend, her son was arrested. So it's become clear to me that intergenerational trauma, it's
Yeah,
like the mala beads of the army. I
yeah,
mean, you're part of it too. And if you're part of it too, if you're not part of it, will you not have that intergenerational trauma? And I think you do. Your cousins have it. The
yeah,
other members of your families have it.
yeah,
So it's for my dad, it's not him, it's the people before him too that
yeah,
pass on this need when you have nothing to have something, and this is the way. Or don't you realize what it's like to grow up in a house with dirt floors and 8 children and have nothing, and don't you
yeah,
appreciate? Of course I do appreciate. Maybe I don't appreciate enough. I
yeah,
don't appreciate enough what he's trying to tell me.
yeah.
Um, but the intergenerational trauma, at some point, maybe you just have to walk away from it. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, that is true, right? You could make that choice. And then, but then when you do walk into it, right, and go visit for Thanksgiving, like you just said an insight that I caught was that dad dad wants to feel more appreciated for where he came from and what he was able to how he was able to provide for his kids better than he was provided for. And so maybe this weekend being with them, you could like try hard to just keep saying how much you appreciate what your parents did for you. And just to see what would happen to the conversation. And who knows, right? Whether it would shift anything or not, but it would give you an experiment to try and something to do.
I have done that in the past, and I know this is a different moment, but their response was, "We paid for your education, and you're just a stupid office worker. Why aren't you a hotshot?" So that
Yeah.
was their response, that I was an
Uh,
investment, a business investment,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
didn't yield a return on investment.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm.
But,
No,
you
no,
know, I'll
can't
think
get a
about that
negative
some
result.
more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, the people that with the court cases and the arrests, they did choose to kind of walk from their family.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I mean, maybe in a different way I'm walking from the family. You said to leave the family, but do your practice, right? That's how we all started this.
Yeah,
So maybe I actually need to just keep practicing, and then it's like I left my family, but I'm still talking to them. Or not talk to them. I don't know. If he starts to
right.
get violent, I'm probably gonna leave. And I
Absolutely.
just, well, it's already happened and I haven't left. But then I don't want to go back to that because it was a different moment and this is a different moment now. So
Yeah,
I I don't know. And it's coming from me, right? All this this wrong information is coming from me. So how can you really, I mean, if the wrong worldviews are coming from me, wouldn't the solution be to have correct worldviews, right?
right, right. It is. It really is. The ultimate solution is correct worldview because it will color our behavior that will plant the new seeds. Um,
And
Janet,
Arya Nagarjuna wanted to help so badly, right?
yeah,
He wanted to help so badly that he's like, fine, but I'll tell you how you should do it. And
Yeah.
then afterwards, he's like, and then the head and the body will come back together again, and I will come back.
You know, when we have the karmas to have conflict with certain people, and we recognize it's all my seeds, I need to work on these seeds. You're not obligated to work on those seeds with the people that trigger you. And in fact, probably we can't work on our own seeds with the people that trigger us. That we recognize what our triggers are by way of those relationships. And then we go elsewhere and work on our antidote seeds with other people. We can't do that. We can, I don't can't, we can work on appreciating parent seeds. Just as an example, I'm not saying that's the one. By appreciating like everybody you pass by in some way, either verbally or mentally or just as a nod, and then be thinking, by way of doing this, I am shifting my seeds with this generational trauma. And you don't really ever have to necessarily go back and test it out, because you'll find that even the little ways that other people push those buttons will diminish over time. Okay? And then if you get brave, you want to go test it out with the family, you could, but you wouldn't have to.
Well,
No,
that's
so in terms of walking from the family, you can walk from the family, but don't walk from the mental afflictions that the family triggers, because we still want to do something to clean those out, because we know we must have them, because every time I go to the family, there they are again. You see?
but that's because it's coming from me. It just happens to be manifesting within my family really
Right,
strongly, but it'll manifest in other areas. And
right.
it's always been wrong worldviews, always.
Underneath, exactly. It is.
And so maybe the simple thing is Shanti Deva, bump on the log. Just don't
At
repeat
first.
those wrong
Right,
worldviews because
right,
this is how it got manifested to begin with.
right. So you burn them off and don't replant.
May I share something, dear Lama?
Certainly.
Oh, thank you. Janet, I don't know if you're taking the practice of Tonglen with your Lama. One of the practices that we are doing with her is precisely when we have a bad situation going on, that we can Tonglen ourselves in advance and kind of try to anticipate what's going to happen and remove whatever emotions, feelings, or situations that we think they are going to be arising. Do the Tonglen ahead of time. You can do the Tonglen with your dad. You can do the Tonglen with yourself, and those states are going to be shifting in a very, very, very powerful way. So that would be something to work on ahead of time. My suggestion would be kind of anticipate all the wrong possible things that could happen, the worst scenarios, and tangling it. Thank you for listening.
Hey, let's take a break, shall we?
I hope this wrong worldviews winds down at some point. You said that when Western people talk about, being minded, they mean logic. And I think the reason why my entire life I've been sort of pathos, that Western pathos, logos, ethos, is because I think I misunderstood in a past life about that. And so I just took out all minded, what I thought was minded, and it became almost entirely emotional. And then what happens is you leave a really imbalanced life. And you could say, well, because we're not on mission, you can't make things logic anyway. You can't, but then you're not really looking at wrong information. You're not really deciding when you're listening what's going on. So I hope that I will switch to mental seeds are not necessarily only just logic. They're also um, your past deeds. So I don't know. Yeah, wrong road views has put me on the road of probably wrong emptiness thinking for lifetimes.
And you have the extraordinary goodness to be in a class like this, to be studying, to be trying, to be diligent about it. That's a great goodness.
Well, I mean, I probably won't be teaching emptiness for a very long time, if at all, because there's so many problems with people learning wrong. It's if people misunderstand, it leads to this lifetimes of doing it and misunderstanding it wrong.
You know, Janet, I have a very straight mind. And usually I always have to set myself with goals and objectives. So I don't do anything just out of the blues. Usually I have something in mind that I want to achieve. So if you go to your parents' house with an objective in mind, with a goal in mind, to make that evening, that holiday, and even better than the next that when you were before there. I mean, you have a goal to achieve, not to get upset, not to get into any confrontations. I mean, you set yourself up for something.
I
And
have,
and you set yourself with standards with I don't know, you prepare yourself. It's like when you're in class. It's the same thing. Am I going to listen to the class? What is the goal of this class? What am I getting out of it? I don't know. I always ask myself questions. I'm always like, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? I mean, that's why when the word neutral feelings came up, it's like, well, I don't see myself remaining neutral because I have something to gain, something to delete, or something to look forward to, something to sow seeds. I don't know, but have a goal in mind. And the goal would be probably no confrontations. Uh, just yesterday, for example, I've noticed that I had in my chest certain seeds that I didn't know they were there. I knew that I was kind of quiet for the past days, very silent, But I discovered the type of seeds that they were remaining in me. And I said, no more. And yesterday was one of the happiest days with Edward. We went to the park, we laughed, we played, we ran, we did so many things. But until you decide to make a shift and say, I don't want those seats anymore, I don't like how they feel, I need to bring joy where I am. I don't want to be all the time so quiet and so silent. And I noticed that. So we have the power. It's empty. Everything's empty. That's where emptiness relies.
Mhm.
So I had a temporary 12-step sponsor, and she's since passed away, and we would role play. So she would say be my parents, and I had 4 words, or we'd switch. Um, I would be the parents, and the 4 words were oh, yes, thank you, and I love you. Subtraction of language. That's ah. You're so stupid. Oh, you just call because you want to be in the will. Yes. I love you and I thank you. That's it. So I role played and I was prepared. Nothing happened.
Well, that's a good thing, isn't it? That nothing happened.
I have goals and I am prepared.
All right.
And we'll see. It's a mystery what my seats will bring me.
Well, we're all rooting for you.
You know,
It'll be fine.
I was in my parents' will and I didn't take not even one penny of it.
Hmm.
I gave it to my sister.
Yeah.
And with my grandma, it was the same. I just shared. So with my daughters, this September, we were supposed to be again rewriting our will, but we didn't have the time. And everything's written down, but Mario and I were kind of discussing to be equal with both of them. And that's the hard part because some of the investments that we have, they're not equal. So how to divide things in equal forms, but they'll decide what to do with it. It's not our responsibility anymore.
Yeah.
So sometimes when I look at the outreach that Geisha Michael's doing, it is almost to reach out to people like my parents. I mean, they will donate money for their Christian church and they will have, schools built or learning centers. So there's a lot of good that comes out of that. There was like some opera singer that got funded to perform. There was I want to say like a singing bowl orchestra, and they would do concerts with singing bowls, and all this is funded through the church. So I always expected that the money would go there. I don't know why he keeps bringing it up when he says that he wants to support this kind of outreach. I'm all for it. But there he is, or at least maybe that's what I'm hearing, and that's not really what he's saying.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Right. Dharma Laboratory. Thanksgiving weekend with family. All right, let's get back to our text, shall we? The last thing we said was we call it definite good because it is a freedom from which there is no turning back. So I don't know where we were, so we'll go back up and start with Janet again. Here it says,
It says that we should offer an explanation to help them generate an understanding that even if they have some reason to empty themselves of emptiness, they cannot diminish their understanding, even in the slightest, of the certainty of cause and effect.
okay, so even if we can't cope with emptiness, know that karma drives the show, right? So morality is going to be the key here. behavior. So here's the second, recognizing cause and effect. Elsie, please.
They aspire to the happiness of higher births and definite liberation. To accomplish those swiftly, be swift to get faith and wisdom.
Faith and wisdom. Did we read this already? Did my computer
Yes,
take us back?
yes, I read it, teacher.
All right. There we are. Here, this is where we are. Faith. We haven't talked about faith yet. Okay, who's up? Pauline.
Faith in things such as cause and effect, the four truths, as well as the three jewels, and the wisdom that realizes emptiness will lead us to accomplish those two results swiftly.
Faith. This one too, please.
Okay. Where it says swift, it is summarizing the main causes, whereas the word swiftly that came before, it is talking about the specific results.
Huh. And Roxana, please. Oopsie.
Because they are people of faith, they rely upon the teachings. Because they are possessed of wisdom, they understand the truth. All this too, wisdom is the main. The preliminary practices is faith. Right.
And Joanna.
We know from quotes like, developing faith is like a preliminary practice, and make the roots of your faith very firm, that faith is the root of all of the teachings. And so, because they are people of faith, they rely upon teachings like the 10 virtues to achieve the causes for higher rebirths. Because they are possessed of the wisdom which realizes the profound emptiness, they understand the true meaning of reality.
Here's the fourth. The presentation that the definition of a student is a proper vessel. Now we're back to you, Janet.
By neither craving, nor anger, nor fear, nor darkness do they transgress the teachings. This one whom we call possessed of faith is a supreme vessel for definite good. It's so interesting that later they say, I don't know who, that faith isn't enough. You have to analyze your situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Faith born of logic, right? Go ahead with this line, please, Janet.
Who is the person who is both faithful and wise, who is a proper vessel for this teaching?
And Elsie.
When people are willing to throw out the teachings and do things like kill out of desire for meat. They transgress the teachings out of desire. When they do something like kill out of total rage, they transgress the teachings out of anger. When they throw out the teachings out of fear of things like punishment by the king, they transgress the teachings out of fear. When they do things like kill for their parents or others and believe this to be just fine, they transgress the teachings out of darkness.
Well, I know that will never happen.
But there are people who kill for others, like soldiers trying to protect the country.
The soldiers are never just the individual soldiers, though. They're like a whole group.
You know, we could write the same paragraph with any one of the non-virtues. Like stealing. People are willing to throw out the teachings and do things like steal out of desire for the wealth they think they get from the stealing. Or kill or steal out of total rage. They're so mad the other person has that they're going to take it from them out of anger, right? This applies to all of the different non-virtuous behaviors that we as human believe are justified given some situation. And so he's pointing out there's motivated by ignorant liking, motivated by ignorant disliking, motivated by fear, right, on personal survival, and motivated by misunderstanding, just the basic misunderstanding underneath.
This caught my attention when I was reading it before, when I was on the plane. And we still have this going on in our world, at least in my world.
Oh, mine
It's
too.
still going on. I mean, we still have people who are doing abortions, and there are even politicians who are benefiting from it, who are trying to make it legal. So that's killing on behalf of what the family might say or might do or whatever, you know. It has happened in the past, it's happening now. They are killing on behalf of their parents, probably because they don't want to cause a family embarrassment, or I don't know what
Yeah.
reasons they might be.
Right, right.
But it's still going on. I mean, personally, us, we're not doing it, but that doesn't mean that it's not out there.
Right. And same for all kinds of different kinds of killing
Right,
still
right.
going on.
But it did catch my attention how they relate to these negative deeds. I mean, desire, the darkness, the anger,
Right,
how
right,
they related it, and we need to analyze it. I mean, in personal terms.
right. Like those choices of behaviors that that fall into the category, the 10 non-virtues, they're motivated by something.
Right. Right. I mean,
But again, the context here is someone who has the teachings, like knows the teachings. And then because of these strong triggers, the mental afflictions, they do these deeds regardless of knowing what they know from the teachings. So it's like not a different situation, but we don't apply this to somebody who has a different worldview and a different opinion, etc. Are they still making karma? Absolutely. right? But the context here is somebody who knows something about karma and emptiness. And then because of the power of these mental afflictions, they behave in a way that's contradictory to what they're learning or what they are claiming their faith believes in. And as a result, that's throwing out the teachings. So he's talking about worthy vessel or someone who is a vessel for the teaching.
It somehow reminds me on this thing that we have, at least in Europe, a lot with people going to church on Sunday and then they go to talk to the priest and then they get there, do one of the rosaries, and then you're rid of all the bad stuff that you did, of your sins. And then during the week, they just do it again and again because they know they can go on Sunday and just confess. And I think in our tradition, it could be the same for if you know you can purify your seeds, you could just also let loose and try. Here it's on controlling, right? The text, how to control yourself and keep you from doing things. So maybe this is also kind of a warning thing. Don't think that you can just make it up by purifying afterwards. It's not doing it in the first place. What's the important thing?
Yeah. Right. All right, let's see. Who's up? Like everybody's shifted around on my screen, so now I don't have an order anymore. Elsie, have we heard from you in a while?
Okay. But there are disciples who turn away from transgressing the teachings in the four ways that those people described above have. Neither craving, nor anger, nor fear, nor darkness can cause them to transgress the teachings. These people who believe in karma and its consequences we call possessed of faith. They are suitable to be led to freedom and are thus supreme vessels for definite good.
Yeah, so he's not saying they are free of craving or anger or fear or darkness. It's that they're able to not act from those states of mind to do those things that ordinary behavior would do in response to them. So it is that restraining and discipline, right, that Joanna is pointing out. And someone who can do that or is willing to try, I would suggest, would be suitable, right, to be taught more. Maybe he's saying to the king, look, if you're not able to choose different behavior, then I'm not going to waste my time with you. Well, let's see where he goes. Janet, please.
A master is one who thoroughly examines everything they do, say, and think, and always acts with knowledge of what benefits themselves and others.
What benefits themselves and others. That's slippery, isn't it? When we understand karma and emptiness well, when we answer the question, will this benefit me? We would be thinking in terms of, will the seed I plant by doing this come back to me in a way that will help me plant seeds that will come back to me in a way that will help me plant seeds that all of it directed towards being able to help others be happy, right? From a bodhisattva perspective. Ordinarily, when we're saying, is this going to benefit me and others? We're thinking, will it benefit me now or soon? Right? We're thinking of the immediate result versus thinking, will the seed I'm going to plant with this behavior help me stop my mental afflictions in the future? So will what I'm planning to do help another now? And will it help me in the future? It's important, I think, to have our understanding as we're reading these words. We don't know if that's where he's going yet. We don't know if in talking to the king, or this is writing to the king, whether the king is thinking, is it going to benefit me, right, in the next moment or tomorrow? But I think for us, check when we're checking, is this going to benefit me? Am I still thinking, is it going to benefit me in the next moment? Or is it going to benefit me, right, when it ripens? Now, it doesn't mean we can't do things that we want to benefit me in the moment, but they are not going to, no matter what we do. Okay.
Lama, I think he's
Yes?
I think he's guiding us to know what it takes to be a worthy vessel.
Yeah, he is. He is. Okay, Pauline, please.
Okay, teacher. I think just now the earlier statement is like what teacher mentioned, is referring to ultimately benefiting us in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. These people thoroughly examine everything they do, say, and think, and scrutinize whether they are virtuous, non-virtuous, or neutral. They gave up those which are non-virtuous and neutral, and then commit only virtue.
Yeah. We try. We fail, we fail. And we try again and try again and try again.
Teacher, I
Roxana, please.
continue. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Roxana.
And even having done that, they go on to dedicate that virtue to total enlightenment so that they can achieve the goals of all beings. It is someone with this wisdom who, with the knowledge of what benefits themselves and others, always correctly gives up what ought to be given up and takes up what ought to be taken up, who we call a master. Whereas someone may have mastered the five sciences, but if they don't correctly understand what to take up and what to give up, then in this context, we would not call them a master. Right?
Nice.
Yes. So I think that master is synonymous for worthy vessel.
Yeah. But then that means you already know what to give up and take up in order to become a worthy vessel for the teachings. What do you need the teachings for if you already know?
Well,
Well,
the teachings are giving you the opportunity to know what to give up
right.
and what to, I mean,
It's like we're not a worthy vessel until we use the teachings to become a worthy vessel.
right.
So how
Right.
are we a worthy vessel?
But
Yes,
he's talking about being a master. A master is someone who already knows, right?
right.
I mean, you already know, Lama. You know what to do and what not to do.
Yeah, I just can't do it. In summary, when we say that someone has faith and wisdom, we are talking about a person who understands well the steps for all three types of practitioners who are training on the steps of the path. Right, the actual explanation. Where are we, Joanna?
The second part, the actual explanation, has two parts of its own: an explanation of the causes that result in higher rebirths, and an explanation of the causes that result in definite good.
Right. The first of these has two parts, an extensive explanation and a brief summary. Elsie, please.
The first part has three parts of its own: an explanation of the teachings for reaching higher rebirths, how to put those teachings into practice, and the results of practicing them.
Why do we want to know that? Janet, please.
And the first of these has four parts: an explanation of the 16 teachings for reaching the higher realms, a demonstration that these are not found in any system other than this one, the results of engaging improperly with these teachings, and an explanation of the particular results of virtuous or non-virtuous causes.
They mean by use the teachings improperly, like on those slippery parts, using it more as a justification, or is there any other understanding?
We'll have to see when we get there. I'm not sure. The first part has three divisions, the 13 instructions which you should turn your back on, the three practices that you should engage in, and a brief summary. And the first of these has two parts, turning our backs on the 10 non-virtues and turning our backs on other ill-advised activities. Okay, we're back up to Janet, please.
Don't kill, give up stealing, give up coveting other people's spouses, refrain completely from speech which is wrong, divisive, harsh, or disconnected.
That's an odd way of saying useless, disconnected. This one too, please, Janet.
Eliminate totally attachment and ill will, and the view that things aren't there. These are the 10 white paths of action. Their opposites are the black.
That's interesting, isn't it? Don't steal is a path of action. But wait, I didn't do anything. It didn't do something that I maybe might have done. Does that plant a seed? I didn't do anything. It does plant a seed. It is a path of action to not do something in a position where you might have. But what if you're in a position where you never would have? Like it would never have occurred to me to steal anything. So then every moment that I'm not stealing something, am I still making a path of action? Or is it only when I'm like have a, I might do it and I don't do it? I
You
don't
don't
know.
have the karma for stealing. You don't have those seeds. Don't you? I mean, they don't ripen. If I would have the seeds for stealing, they would ripen.
And then you'd have to steal.
I
right?
mean,
You couldn't not steal if your seeds for ripening, for stealing ripen, you would steal, you would have no control.
right.
But
Yeah.
when we
But it
don't
can't
steal,
be
we
right.
plant.
I hope that's not right.
I mean, but for example, what would be something that would cut my attention that I want it so bad that I need to steal it in first place? I don't know.
Mm.
What would be like, I have no idea. What would I really want to really go all the way and to steal for it? I I don't know. What would be so powerful to commit that misdeed? In our case, for example.
Yeah, I don't know. But then what about, I don't know, like I'm a in a community group and we're doing some project and somebody's brought a roll of tape, scotch tape, and I've taken the scotch tape from that room to another room. And then, I get busy. I never take that scotch tape back. And it gets left in the other room, and that person ends up without their favorite scotch tape when they get home. They're going to feel, who took my scotch tape?
Right.
And then it's like, well, I did. Like, is that I didn't set about to take their scotch tape. I
You
used
just
it,
got,
but right, inadvertent stealing.
but for example, okay, here in the States, Adria and Eduardo were telling me that to commit a felony of stealing, it has to be over $1,000 to be prosecuted.
Yeah.
So they were telling me that were four young people, okay? They just fill out the cards at JCPenney and they
Yeah.
just walked out.
Yeah.
And they don't do anything. Not
Yeah.
even the police follows them.
Yeah.
So is that stealing or is that just providing for their own personal needs and wants?
I know. I know.
So,
These things seem so black and white and they're not. If the store isn't going to prosecute because the government won't prosecute, then like the first $1,000 of any of your merchandise you shouldn't have to pay for.
right.
And
And
they're essentially giving it away.
why don't I do that?
And why
I
don't we do
stop
that?
and I pay for it.
Right. Me too.
So is it stealing or not stealing? I mean, if they open the door and they let you walk out.
Right.
So if we go and look now at the example of the scotch tape,
Yeah.
But in that example, for example, abortion would be okay and it would be not killing in the countries where the law says you are allowed to do that. And we have, for example, this law. You're allowed to do. You can choose. You decide what you want to do. And then if I would follow this logic, it wouldn't be killing. But it is killing.
Right.
So I would say it's not the customs and the legal rules or anything. It's the
What's going to
does
come
it
out?
harm? Does it harm someone? And it
Right.
is harming the one who's owning or producing or I don't know.
Unless they see it as giving the first $1,000.
If
Right.
they give it freely, yeah.
Right. And they're not offended by it. But then that means that person, say I'm the one who's taking the first $1,000, right? My result of that is going to be somebody's going to take the first $1,000 worth from me. And if I see
right?
that as, okay, that's my generosity, then that's a good result coming back. If I'm going to be offended by that, then it's a bad result.
But we're educated Buddhist lemma,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So if I know that I misplaced the scotch tape,
Uh-huh.
or if I go into Adria's pantry and I put the peanut butter and I couldn't remember where it was, right?
Yeah.
It's things that we do unconsciously,
Right.
we are still planting seeds for having our
Right.
peanut butter misplaced in the pantry.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
from
the
a bigger
question
point
that
of view, that there is a distribution problem with wealth and food.
Oh,
So you could talk about all this, but the amount of money that concentrated wealth has is so big that we can't even wrap our heads around it. And part of that is because they're living off the backs of people who worked really hard.
yeah.
And then there's a reversal. Those people will steal to redistribute the wealth more evenly. It's
Right.
not just to survive, but because it is a straight up and down redistribution problem of wealth and food.
Right.
So, people have talked about universal basic income, and they do it in some countries, kind of to redistribute the wealth. And then the question is, well, where will this money come from? And
Right.
then people don't understand about how there is this imbalance, and and people almost support the system. Well, we couldn't like give people $1,000 a month or $800 a month without working. That would only enable them.
Yeah.
So there's this energy in place to keep this distribution problem. And I don't know. I find sometimes the people who are middle class are more giving than the people who are really wealthy. Well, I don't know how true that is.
No,
I
I
can't
couldn't.
prove it. But then that's another way that this redistribution problem is manifesting.
Mhm.
So all we
But
can do,
it's our seeds. It's our seeds. And if no
yeah,
one is thinking of it and no one is acting upon it, then there's not this problem. But it's there, the problem out. So it has to do with all the things that we planned. And the interesting question we started off was, are we planting seeds even though we don't act upon? And
Right.
from the Bodhisattva vows, at least I always have it in my mind. If you really promise or you go for it and say, I'm not going to kill or I'm not going to steal, and there's also the value actually a little bit, but it's really low. But then we say every moment you don't do it, you collect merit. So there must be somehow some planting part happening, even though you're not
Right.
in the situation where we could do the thing, wouldn't
Right.
it?
Well, that's what this is saying, right? By avoiding all of these things, we are doing the 10 white passive action. He's not saying do the opposite, protect life to get the white path of action. Don't kill. But without the vow, it it would only be the path of action we were in when we're in a position where we might kill either intentionally or accidentally, and we consciously avoid doing it. But it's interesting because, right? Hand the pen, you take the pen, that's when the seed gets implanted. It's like could kill, don't kill, situation past, imprint is still made.
If there is a dangerous situation and someone would try not to kill, but would be willing to kill if it's getting more dangerous, and then the situation dissolves itself and no one was harmed, but the willingness would also plant a seed, right?
Yeah, it would.
Mm.
Yeah, a mental seed, right?
So it's not the full path, but anyway, whenever we think about it, it will plant mental karma.
Yeah. Which will ripen as mental result karma. Yeah,
So
which
you
may,
could have the thought, I would steal, I would like to steal, but I'm not going to act upon it.
right.
Like I'm going to take the printer paper from work or whatever. It's also stealing the small things.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just like to think it, but in my mind, as for example, there are $1,000 to be prosecuted. It's like for people, like an invitation. Like it's okay. You have a limit. You may take it up to that limit, and like we're giving permission. I don't know. I was raised with very strict morals in my family, especially my grandma. She was very strict with us. It's a family thing that how you're supposed to behave, conduct yourself, speak, not even chew gum. I mean, so many things.
Yeah.
And and for me, it's like open the doors, you walk out with merchandise. Not one thing, it's with a lot of things.
Like it's pointing out our leisure and fortune, though, to have grown up in a family that had this level of morality versus growing up in a family that were in such survival mode that like anything anything went in order for you, the family member, to survive. You know, it's like, oh man, some past me did a whole lot of goodness that I'm not in that position, right, as a human.
But I don't remember back then, Lama, being so complacent. The laws being, I mean, so opened.
Yeah, yeah. I don't, well, yeah, I don't know when that shifted either.
Yeah, me either. So this is new to me.
Yeah. I heard about it a number of years ago that it was in California that that had happened. And the reasoning was that they just didn't have enough manpower to prosecute, right? To arrest and prosecute people. So it's like, okay, we'll just let them have the first 1,000. I don't know. I don't know. But it's like a degeneration of society in a sense that we even need to have laws. Like, anyway, okay. Let's go on. So we're still in the section of who's a proper vessel, right? I think that's where we still are. So I forget where we were. We'll go back up to Janet.
Here is the first. Don't kill living beings. Give up stealing things that belong to others. Give up coveting other people's spouses. These three are the non-virtuous actions we do with our bodies that we need to turn our backs on. So the king already has a higher rebirth.
Yeah, he sure does.
So this text is a teaching for the king. And he's teaching them that even if you have a higher rebirth, you need to abide by the things that everyone else abides by.
Okay. Oh, gee, that the authority figure is held to the same level of morality as the rest of us. That's an important message. But I'm thinking if I were the king, I mean, this king has asked for this. He's right. I don't think Nagarjuna is writing this letter to the king that isn't interested. And so that kind of changes the picture a little bit. But if we were just applying this to a general purpose king, the king might be thinking, look, I'm king. I'm responsible for protecting my kingdom. If somebody attacks us, right, it's my responsibility to protect. I'm going to send my army to fight. And if in that fight somebody gets killed, I'm willing to do it to protect my people because that's how you protect people, right? Wrong worldview, but expected behavior. And he would say, and look, technically I own everything anyway. So I can't steal anything, even if I walk into somebody's house and I walk off with their most precious possession. It was mine. I'm the king. And being the king, I own all the people too. So if I like that guy's spouse, right? She's my property. I can do what I want. He's my property. I can do what I want. Like king's gonna be saying, wait, that's what it is to be king. I'm not being non-virtuous. I'm being what kings do. And it's like, yeah, if you want a future lifetime in which you get killed, you get stolen from, you get your partner taken, right? You want these things coming back to you. And that's the argument with this, with wisdom, cause and effect, is what you do is going to happen to you in some future time frame. But then the difficulty is in this lifetime necessarily? Probably not. And then if we don't believe that we have future lifetimes, then the argument, what you do now is going to come back to you in a future lifetime, doesn't hold water. And then if we can't show that what we do in today isn't going to bring its result in this lifetime, right? The one that I'm still thinking me, then it's like our argument falls apart in terms of its ability to influence people. So our king, the one that this letter is to, is one who said, tell me how I can be a better king, apparently. And now that king is thinking, oh my gosh, what if some army does attack my people? How am I going to handle that without killing? Right? How am I going to rule my kingdom if I don't think of everything that everybody has as being mine? Like, would the king be starting to rethink how he's got to interact? It really is an interesting exercise, right? Because, I'm not a king. I don't own anything. But maybe the implication is that my selfishness is such that it does think it's king somehow. Like deep down, I deserve everything. It should all come to me effortlessly. Anything I want should happen. I mean, maybe deep down, this letter is to all of our selfishnesses, right? Mine anyway. All right. We know what's coming. Pauline, please.
The non-virtuous paths of action that we need to turn our backs on, which relate to speech, are saying something that knowingly adjusts another person's perception of the truth, or saying something wrong, divisive speech, or speaking words that divide other people, harsh speech, or saying your words sternly in a way that hurts the feeling of others, and idle speech, or saying whatever happens to come into your mind in a disconnected way.
That's an interesting definition of idle speech, isn't it? Just say what you're thinking. That's a little different. Roxana, please.
When you think to yourself how wonderful it would be to have what someone else got, that's attachment. When you think harmful thoughts towards others, that's ill will. And when you disregard the idea of cause and effect, you are holding the view that things aren't there. These three are the non-virtuous actions in your thoughts. The paths of action where we eliminate this totally along with the other mentioned above are the 10 white paths of action, and doing the opposite are the black.
Ah. Joanna, please.
For an extensive presentation on things like the object, states of mind of the doer, undertaking, and completion of a deed, as well as how to put these 10 virtuous paths into practice. Get to know the steps on the path of the way of the perfections as composed by the good and glorious J. Rinpoche Lobsang Drakpa.
Yay, nice. Good place to stop, hey? And. Oopsie. We are on page what? 79,709 words is what my computer says. I'll never remember that. Okay. So well done, us. We learned some things that we will use sooner or later for that other who seems like they have no inclination to learn this stuff. And that's a great, great goodness. So please be happy with yourself. 58. Thank you. And think of your precious holy beings. See how happy they are with us. Feel your gratitude to them, your reliance upon them. Ask them to please, please stay close, to continue to guide you, help you, inspire you. And then offer them this gemstone of goodness. See them accept it and bless it. And they carry it with them right back into our hearts. See them there, feel them there. Their love, their compassion, their wisdom. It feels so good, we want to keep it forever. And so we know to share it by the power of the goodness that we've just done. May all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So use those 3 long exhales to share this goodness with that one person. To share it with everyone we love. To share it with every existing being everywhere. See them all filled with loving kindness, filled with happiness. And may it be so. All right. Thank you, everybody. That was fun.